I've never seen an old-timer this badass. He evolves from Paleolithic grit to the age of pottery right here in the frozen wild. He builds a brick kiln, fires roof tiles, and perfects his shelter for winter. He crafts a heated bed to keep out damp and frost, and plants crops to enrich his meals. Then, using primitive techniques, he fishes through ice, proving food freedom even in snowbound country. His toolkit of ancient skills dazzles the eye, and he survives a full 365 days in the wild. This old wang is Tom. He wants to set down roots in this snowy wilderness, but aside from a pair of briefs, he's got nothing, so he grinds a river pebble over and over until a razor-sharp edge appears. With that, he can fell a sapling that won't survive the winter, a brutal process that somehow looks simple. Once he has a stout log, he shapes a second, smaller flake and chisels a groove in the log, a socket to seat that sharp stone. But a stone flake isn't a real chisel, and the results fall short. So Tom splits a length of timber, hollows the halves, pads the base with dry grass, and with his calloused hands he spins and rubs, again and again, until the spindle whirs like a modern drill, throwing sparks, and the tinder catches in the cold air. With flame alive, he drops embers into the groove, and with steady breaths in the icy wind, coaxes the fire to burn inward, boring through the wood. He insets the sharp stone, and a stone axe is born. With gear this advanced for the ice fields, his efficiency jumps. Saplings fall with hardly any effort. In under 2.5 minutes, one bows to the snow and the saw utterly conquered. He keeps harvesting more, prepping to raise a winter-proof shelter. He points the stakes, char-hardens a log, and grinds it smooth, a perfect tool for augering post holes. Set the stakes deep, bury them firm, and the frame stands against the cold. Call Tom a max-level survivalist, and you wouldn't be exaggerating. Even in these harsh conditions, he insists on mortise and tenon joinery, no shortcuts. Without a single iron nail, it's the most durable path in the snow. He keeps carving sockets, determined that every timber lock perfectly with its mate to build a fortress against blizzards. But with no proper tools, he can't peg the joints with wooden dowels. So he gathers tough winter vines, binding every joint tight improvised nails that hold in the cold. He plans to live here long-term, so the shelter must be sealed against snow and wind. After tying down the roof frame, he bundles the leftover vines, lays them together, and starts a new tool twist this way, weave that way, braid until the pattern locks. He finishes a stout woven vine net perfect for winter use. Then he heads down to the river. He harvested a few tiny snow crabs buried under the ice. Not enough to fill his stomach, but enough to keep hunger at bay. Just trace nutrients barely enough to survive this frozen wilderness, but greater things are coming. He dug up blocks of icy clay, placed them inside a woven snow branch frame, then grabbed handfuls of dried pine needles to make ash for insulation. He fed the fire slowly and found a pair of frozen coconut shells washed ashore, though that wasn't the key. He snapped a useless branch, tied pieces together, creating a snow tile mold. Ash as a base clay packed inside, shaped smooth like polished ice. A small ridge at the end for locking snow roof tiles, handmade in the wild. To speed things up, he placed them near the fire to dry. Shaped and hardened, but not done yet, he set them aside to cure. His sights shifted to a mound nearby, a termite snow nest. Not ordinary earth. Anyone who's watched Wilderness Masters knows how precious this is. He used it to make primitive winter cement, formed into a circular slab, poked holes evenly across. This would be the wall of his snow furnace. He dug a cavity in the frozen ground, lined it with snow cement and sticks, shaping a winter hearth. Once the wall piece was set, he layered upward in rings, building it tall, 1/2 meter high, minimum. Smart viewers already know what he's making. A primitive snow kiln. He lit a fire with hand-drilled friction, warming the kiln first. Then he rolled more icy clay, shaping a casing, smoothing a tube for airflow. Once attached to the paddle and fan pieces, he built a primitive blower, a winter forge fan, ancient style. The kid's got skill, work smart, not hard, faster than hand fanning any day. Even if you trained your arms for 30 years, this would still beat you. He slid the dried tiles into the kiln, ignited it, winter firing begins. While waiting, he gathered a few silkworms from pine trunks packed with protein, even more than beef. He grilled them over snow embers, delicious. Energy restored and the snow tiles were done firing. They looked the same as before, but their strength was entirely different. He locked them neatly onto the snow log roof frame, the raised ridge gripping the beams perfectly. Better than store-bought wild engineering. The top row needed curved tiles, so he carved a trench in the icy ground, placed fresh tile clay inside, letting the earth curve shape it. Perfect arc achieved. After 2.5 hours of firing, he placed them on the roof, one by one. Snowproof, windproof, stormproof. Truth be told, this guy is insane. And this is just him warming up. The real winter magic is yet to come. He marked out the foundation in the snow, digging a fire tunnel on one side, then arranged a ring of stones free and everywhere in this frozen land. To make gathering water easier, he crafted a clay pot by hand. After nearly an hour of firing inside his snow kiln, it became sturdy enough to haul ice melt and cook. One tool, many uses in the frozen wild. Meanwhile, the foundation of his snow home continued. He sealed the edges with wild winter cement, reinforced the fire channel beneath the floor, then layered stones with more snow cement, locking everything airtight. A primitive underfloor heating system was born. Warmth first, life next. And he wasn't done weaving his shelter yet. He cleared another planned trench ahead of time, the basics of living long in the frozen wild. Judging by the materials he used, it's clear he intends to survive here for real. It may not look fancy, but strength means everything out here. Unlike some creators, this wild snow pioneer is true to his craft. Handsome? Maybe. Reliable? Absolutely. Nature is unfair, but he wins anyway. After 2.5 days of snow work, the shelter walls were sealed tight. He stacked stones and cement again, building a winter fireplace. On the other side, he shaped a chimney tower. Ventilation is survival in the bitter cold. He doesn't plan on suffocating in his sleep tonight. He lit the fireplace and the heated floor beneath, flames dancing, smoke rising, promising a wave of warmth and comfort ahead. Above the heating trench, he built a raised winter bed, packing stones inside for thermal storage. Sealed again with snow cement, when the fire burns later, the stones will spread heat upward, turning his bed into a cozy winter platform. And he still didn't stop. This is only the beginning. He bound wood halves together, forming a sturdy shelter door. Rough, yes, but enough to keep wolves and night predators out. He trekked into the snowy woods, harvesting a flexible sapling. That's wilderness instinct, knowing what nature offers. With a stone chisel, he hollowed the wood, sanding it repeatedly, shaping a thin wooden blade. Then, stripped tree bark strands, twisting them together into cordage, braiding a strong wild rope. He tied both ends, creating primitive winter tools. For his snow spear, he sharpened a charred stick over and over, forming a deadly point. Then found a wild feather in the snow, collected resin from branches, melted it into glue, and fixed the feather to stabilize aim. A stronger winter spear was born. Armed with enough wooden spears, he headed out to test his skills. Though, in truth, primitive archery isn't ideal for hunting in snow. So instead, he walked to the frozen stream, catching tiny snowfish to survive. Fortunately, 2 years of practice paid off, every effort worth it. Just 2 fish and he was already satisfied, more than enough for his current struggle. He lit the fireplace once more, grilled the fresh fish over snow embers, finally enjoying a warm, hearty meal in the wild frost. Then he fired up the heated bed beneath him. After 25 minutes, a gentle warmth slowly spread through the winter bed. Tom lay back on the warmed bed, drifting into slow, peaceful rest. At first light, he was already up and moving. To make life easier in the days ahead, he decided to build a winter kitchen. The star of the show would still be fish on ice. He framed the layout with wild snow cement, then kept stacking it upward. Sticks and snow cement smeared together, forming a proper stove mouth. One build, many functions already achieved. If he ever finds a wild missus out here, family meals for 3 won't be a problem. It's practically perfect, nothing to fault. He cut several wooden stakes, sharpened the tips, and planted them around the kitchen perimeter. When it comes to building, he's dead serious. Every detail is dialed in just right, locked tight like pieces of ice. With the frame set, he bound beams into a clean A-frame. Laid across the ridge beam, it made roofing easier. To resist wind and snow squalls, he reinforced it a second time. Once the battens for roof tiles were tied on, he carved a new mold, ready to press fresh tile blanks. Same process as before, just a slightly different shape. After drying to form, he fed them into the snow kiln. While the tiles fired, he spotted a few larvae, packed with protein premium wild fare. No cooking needed, straight fuel for the body. Pure survival indulgence. The tiles finished firing, and he lapped them on the roof in tight overlaps. Gotta admit, his primitive toolbox is stacked, like a sparrow pecking a bull, tiny but fierce. He's seriously skilled. With the roofing done, he moved on again, digging more icy clay, crushing charcoal, and mixing it in. He coiled the mix upward, ring by ring, shaping a stout clay jar. Sanded again and again until glass smooth, then made another clay pot for cooking. He dried them over kindling heat and fired them hard in the kiln. A full, practical clayware set. With more tools in hand, daily life became far more convenient. And he kept pushing for a better winter life. By chance, he discovered a few wild sweet potatoes. He dug them out carefully. For long-term survival, he chose to cook 2 pieces first. While they heated, he cleared the ground, opened a small garden plot, dug planting holes, and set posts around it, raising a fence of stakes to keep prowling beasts out. He cut the sweet potatoes into pieces, planting them one by one. By then, time had passed, the boiled sweet potatoes were ready. He ate heartily, satisfied. Fed and watered, his strength returned. He set to work on a sapling, ripping it into wooden blanks, boring clean holes, to assemble a precise new mold. With all materials ready, Tom assembled them together. One glance, and you'd know yes, this was a mold for shaping primitive winter bricks. He gathered packed earth from a frozen termite nest, crushed it finely, and made wild snow cement again. To make bricks strong, he mixed in shredded frozen wood fibers, the secret to solid winter bricks. He packed the mold full, smoothing the clay till it shined. After shaping enough bricks, he set them beside the fireplace to dry. Once hardened, they could be fired. But instead of using the kiln, he used the bricks to build another fireplace, a wild winter furnace, handmade in the snow. Only then did he place brick blanks inside, adding firewood to heat them. They wouldn't turn red like real kiln bricks, the temperature simply wasn't enough, but they were strong enough to use, and that was all Tom needed. He was a builder here, not an actor chasing perfection in nature's theater, trying to fire true red bricks in the wild snow. Pure fantasy. Once stocked with sturdy bricks, he went to the icy river, gathering wild snails good for eating and good as bait. He boiled them right outdoors. No spices, no salt, but hunger doesn't care. He just wanted energy, pure protein fuel to keep going. Once full, he spotted a few wild yams. Their bark-like skin was key. Viewers of Wilderness Masters already know why. He burned them to ash in the fireplace because that ash is a perfect primitive cement ingredient. Mixed with water and filtered, removing excess ash. He separated the pulp, yielding the mineral powder he wanted. Calcium hydroxide and calcium carbonate primitive cement chemistry. Rolled into balls, dried, then soaked again to activate them. A full chemical reaction, wilderness style. Anyone here who can write that formula? He'll call you Dad. Brave enough to try? Next, he mixed in river-fine sand, absolutely essential. All blended together, this became wild winter cement, primitive engineering at its finest. With it, Tom could build a snowside fish pool with bricks. Soon he could raise fish and shrimp for food. Key rule, never skimp on materials. Make it tight, not a drop can leak. That's the foundation. To truly seal it, he coated the inside with cement again. Otherwise, the drainage channel could never work. With that, the winter pond was complete. He filled it with river water, future drinking water, washing water, everything water. But he hadn't forgotten another key upgrade, a leg bone he'd saved for tools. He smashed it open and took the bone shards. Then he began grinding them smooth. He set out to craft an ancient-style knife. Over 8,000 years ago, in the Neolithic chill, people along icy rivers already made knives and forks to dress their winter hunts. After lashing on a hemp cord handle, he sawed cleanly through frozen bamboo. It's not that he couldn't snap it, he wanted to show the ancient knife at work. He split the bamboo into sections, making a bundle of thin slats. With those in hand, he wove them tight, forming a sturdy, single panel. Down at the winter river, he set a low dam, sinking the woven fence into the water, pinning it in place. He dropped in a few river snails as bait to lure fish into the pen. In under 2.5 hours, a quick reach into the water, fish in hand. Simple work, done again and again, brings reliable results. He stocked the catch in his snowside pond. No more trips just to fish, salted fish on demand in the frozen homestead. The snails could coexist in the same pool, a self-sustaining cold weather pantry. In a rare break, he found a few eggs in the brush. Proof. Wild pheasants roam these snowy woods. Tom couldn't resist the chance he set a trap to suit the terrain. A little bait, a careful disguise, and then, just wait. Sooner than expected, the plan worked flawlessly. He bagged the pheasant, but thinking long-term, he didn't eat it right away. With winter cement and bricks, he raised a small coop. He'd keep poultry, so meat wouldn't always require a hunt. A ring fence went up around the area, and he placed the hen and eggs inside. If he didn't cook them early, those eggs would hatch naturally. Sooner or later, new life in the snow. The garden thrived under frost care. He loosened the soil and found the first tubers. He pulled a few sweet potatoes, ready to make a proper meal. Back at the coop, the pheasant dutifully hatched several chicks. The remaining eggs? Dessert for later. He just hoped the brood would eat well, grow strong, and power this snowy homestead. Grow fast, and the eggs will come eggs first, meat someday. A perfect winter plan. He grated the sweet potatoes, collecting a jar of starchy slurry. After settling for 2.5 hours, the starch could be used for a cold weather delicacy. He drained off the extra water, leaving a mound of sweet potato starch. Good for people and for winter fish feed. 2 more hours of drying, and the starch firmed up nicely. He cracked in 2 eggs, stirred to a smooth batter. Truth be told, Tom can be a bit extravagant for a few carbs. He even sacrificed a clay pan. But before he fries winter flatbreads, there's one more job to finish first. He found a few wild peanut plants buried under snow, pulled them up, and uncovered several peanuts. A precious source of oil in this frozen land. He crushed them finely, squeezing out every drop of natural oil. With snow crackling around him, he heated the oil over his winter stove. The dough slid into sizzling peanut oil flavor in the wild always takes patience. Out here, eating carbs instead of meat almost feels like a downgrade, but survival food isn't judged by looks. What matters is pure winter fuel. This is human evolution, beyond climbing trees like monkeys, beyond animals eating only what they find. We make, we cook, we survive the cold. He even found passion fruit rich in vitamin C, boosting his immunity in the snowfields. Mixed with boiled snow water, it became a refreshing winter drink. From his fish pond, he caught a trout and roasted it over a crackling fire. In this silent, icy wilderness, he sat enjoying fresh fish and warm snow flatbread, washing it down with passion fruit tea. This isn't survival, this is Arctic luxury. Follow along, the winter wilderness story has only just begun. Thank you for watching until the end. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the little bell so you won't miss any of our next exciting house building videos. Finally, share your thoughts in the comments below. See you in the next adventure.